This one's all about how I've recently gamified my running experience. I've been using citystrides.com for probably over 2 years now. I'm the number 2 runner in my city for collecting streets. My goal is eventually to run them all. I'm only a handful away from being the number 1 runner in my city too, and one of my good buddies is number 3, so it's only a matter of time. The number 1 guy is not even running anymore. If you're unfamiliar with that website, it's basically giving you credit for every street you run. And the goal is to run as many streets as possible in your city, ideally the whole thing. There's a guy I follow on Strava that is running like all of London. He's like he's like in the top 5, top 3, I think, even for the entire world for streets run. Dude's a huge motivation. Does half marathons like every other day, knocking out streets, driving all over the place. My city's a little challenging. I've run all the areas around my immediate, stomping ground, so I have to get in the car and go out of my way to actually knock off streets at this point, so it gets a little bit more challenging, but depending on what you're into, that is an easy way to have a lot of fun, planning routes. There is a lot of back and forth, running back and forth with the way my streets are laid out, but I think it's a cool way to give yourself, like a side quest while you're running, if you will. Now, something I've recently started using, and I've had the app on my phone for weeks now, and then a buddy of mine shared a video from Instagram or something. He's like, Chris, you're going to love this. And it was this guy talking trash to local runners in his area. He was, becoming the king of his area. Dominating his streets and his city. I forget where he was, but I was like, this is right up my alley. And I immediately opened the app and finally created an account. And I have to say, it's really nice. It's pretty polished. INTVL, INTVL is the name of the app. I like it a lot. It really caters to my kind of personality, very competitive. I like to use stuff like this. I like to be competitive with the other runners in my area. It gives me a chance to showcase my resiliency, my dogged endurance is what I call it, is what I tell my wife. I love just showing people that I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to make it easy for them to conquer my territory. So if you're into competing with people in your local area within your sport and it's running, download the app immediately. You're going to love it. You basically take over zones of the map by running around them. So this kind of complements City Strides a bit too. So not only are you able to knock off streets while you're doing this, but you're going out of your way to do complete routes, not out and backs as much as like a circular route, or you know what I mean? Like you're taking over square mileage at the end of the day. So this is a much different routing experience than you would do with City Strides. But you can kind of blend the two together. I'm getting roads that I wouldn't have normally hit anyways by doing this. But, it would be challenging to do both, I guess. I mean, you could, but you're going to end up adding a lot of mileage to a run. So this has been pretty good for my training. Like, the only downside is I might end up getting myself hurt from running too much. I went and bumped up my weekly mileage by almost 10 miles immediately as soon as I started using the app. I turned a 10-mile Saturday long run into a 17-mile. There was a guy who was the king of the area. He'd been collecting turf for a moment now, it looks like. I came on the scene, boom, dethroned this guy on the first week. I hit a 17-mile long run, took like 70% of his territory in a single run, absolutely demolished him. And now I've been just conquesting all the other people around my immediate area. And I've gotten almost everything that can immediately be taken. I had to get into the car this morning because I didn't have enough free time. And I still ran for an hour, but I had to drive about 10-ish, 12-ish minutes away, park, execute a route, and then get back home before work, shower and everything. So I love that kind of stuff. These people wake up and see I've snatched all their territory. Now that I've got quite a bit myself, people are counterattacking and taking things back from me, planning my long runs around territory, just getting out there and having fun on my runs. I still use Strava. I still like to dive deep into my metrics at the end of the day. That's a ton of fun for me too. I don't need any of this at the end of the day. I love running, and it's very fun to me without any of this, but this just gives it a whole nother element of, fun. Just makes it more enjoyable for me. I'm a little obsessive with stuff like this. My wife's already been getting a little frustrated because of the extra time, and I'm getting on the app a lot more and checking it. So I do have to be careful with that side of things. I'm definitely competitive. I'm definitely a little obsessive at times. But again, I think that really lends itself to this kind of app and for this kind of activity. But try them out. I think I can actually share my referral code. I don't know what it does. It gives you XP in the app. You get all these spin to win things. You can enter yourself into contests. I haven't done any of that. I've saved all my entries so far. I don't really care about that stuff so much, to be totally honest. I just like getting out there and dominating the local competition, showing them who the king of the area truly is. You don't have to run fast. I even log some walks here and there, and nobody seems to mind. I just title them as walks at the end of the day. I'm not going to walk huge chunks of territory at the end of the day either. So there is a little bit of manual review occasionally, and these guys are at Australia, so it does take them a little bit to manually review. My 17 miler was flagged. I uploaded a screenshot from the Coros app, which again, I use a heart rate monitor, and I have their pod on my foot too. So all my data is, valid, solid data. A 4.5 mile run got flagged yesterday too for some reason. Not sure what that was about, but it was approved. So some weird issues with manual review here and there. A little frustrating to go out and, destroy a crazy big run and then have to wait, 24 plus hours for them to finally post it and give you your territory. But outside of that, really enjoying the app. It's pretty well polished. It looks good. Haven't had any major challenges. There was one little sync issue this morning where my run, it said it was adding it, and it just took forever to add it for some reason. Then it eventually went through properly. So I think this app's better for people who are a little bit more geared into long distance running, maybe your marathon runners or ultra runners or even the half marathon distance. But I'm sure you could still have a lot of fun with it if you do shorter distances. You might need to be a little bit more creative about your route selection, but when you do long runs, you can really take out big chunks of territory on a single run, which is fun. I've been planning some pretty crazy routes too. This might be a downside or a negative aspect of it, but it has got me looking at the map in ways I normally wouldn't, and looking at roads that are probably not the safest to run. I'm not going to be unsafe, maybe a little, but I am looking at some ways to take territory where it won't easily be retaken from me. And sometimes that looks like you might need to get off the beaten path a little bit, maybe run a sketchier road than you normally would. I think running still overall is a lot safer than biking, at least in my area, so I'm not too concerned, but that's all. I just kind of wanted to talk about some fun ways to gamify your running experience. Other things I might throw out there too is a long run or group run, I meant to say group run. Running with other people can be a ton of fun. It's a great way to push yourself. I'm actually thinking about making a cool running website, like a nexus for my city here with all the different run groups and stuff, kind of make like a resource. So might share some of that in the future too, but check out your local run clubs. If you're an experienced runner, I'm sure you know all this stuff already, maybe not super familiar with the games, but people in my run group last 2 weeks ago, I ran with the group and they'd never heard of City Strides. So that one's a little less popular, it seems like. Intervals seem to be getting mentioned by some of the younger people, so I think they might be aware of that one. But try them out, see if you like them. If you're on there, I'll share some screenshots. When I do some editing, I'll try and put some pictures. I'll share my username and stuff. So that's everything I got to say about gamifying my running experience.